You know, if you watch that betting show that we do on UFC Fight Pass, Yanni the Greek said his bet on Israel was the biggest sports bet he made in several years. So it's like the sharps are sharp for a reason. You know, I was, and several others on the crew were kind of like, is he going to get tested? You know, is Costa going to just close him down? Costa just closed him down like twice, and then, you know, Adesanya ducked out of the way. And how good was his movement at that point after eating some of those early leg kicks? So I was certainly surprised, but like, you have to credit Adesanya. I mean, it's certainly curious, the game plan of Paulo Costa, and I think his coaches were even curious about it. But you know, I'm not going to take away anything from the champ after that.
We're still all kind of soaking in UFC 253, and I want to get your analysis on it, because I think what we're all trying to figure out is Israel Adesanya, did he just look that good, or did Paulo Costa have an off night or a bad game plan? Like, what exactly did we see there?
Well, I think he looked that good because he had such a smart approach to it. He chopped those legs down so well. I mean, if you were in that arena to really feel those leg kicks, I mean, that'll stifle anybody's game plan. So I think that threw Costa off, and then he never got started. I think his game plan was to go out and kind of mess with him a little bit, but the whole time he was getting chopped, and he even admitted it afterwards to his coaches how badly his leg was hurting. And then from there, once Izzy's got you hurt for a second, he's just going to capitalize on it. But I also think, yeah, it was a little bit of, okay, let's go get him, man. This is what you do, the eraser. You go after people, you overwhelm them with your strikes, and he didn't do that.
From what I saw, he just got his leg kicked to shit. Like, yeah, sorry, can I cuss on this? Like, I keep getting in trouble for cussing. Yeah, he had a really good game plan. When I went back and watched, you know how Dana has the little videos of the warm up backstage before the fighter comes out. I watched Costa's warm up, and he has like a really narrow boxing stance, and his foot's kind of turned, his outside foot is turned in like that, and I could see like he like just presented his calf to Adesanya. So I feel like that was one of the, he either picked it up in tape, or when they were in the fight, he just picked up on it immediately, started hitting the calf. After the first two shots, I'm like, oh man, that must hurt. But then I realized it was just cupping marks. But then, like, the marks started getting more and more. They started multiplying. So that hurts, man. It really hurts. Like, I in my fight with Nina Ansaroff, I got calf kicked. And she's not that big. And she only landed maybe three or four before I started checking them. But after the second round, my entire foot was numb. Like, I couldn't really feel if my foot was going forward or not. And when you're that size and you have someone hit it, he must have hit it like 10 times in the first round at least. When you're that size and you have somebody hitting you with that police baton shin over and over again, it just deadens the entire leg. And I think one thing Adesanya said in his fighter meeting was that he can't respect Costa's poker face. And I think a lot of the fans were respecting Costa's poker face and wondering why he wasn't going forward when, in fact, he was hurt and just hiding it really well. So I think that's what happened. I think the leg kicks took away his mobility, but also opened up the head kick that he landed, also opened up just Adesanya being able to move in and out more freely because Costa couldn't chase him down as easily with that dead leg. And yeah, he just ended up doing that lean back, punch, and knocked him out.
I'd be interested to know what Costa's game plan is. I think it'd be difficult to kind of get inside that camp and find out, because obviously they're going to plan on a rematch. They don't want to give anything away. What was interesting is when he went back to his corner after the first round, there was the feeling in the corner like he was doing the right thing. Now, I spoke about it in the War Room analysis that I did. I felt like Costa knows he's probably a 3-round fighter. He's probably got that memory of gassing on tough Brazil in the first round, chasing that rear naked choke and running out of gas. And if you're a 3-round fighter and you're fighting over 5 rounds, you may not be able to elevate your conditioning to 5 rounds. You may just have to manage that energy system. So starting hard and going fast for 3 rounds and then having to fight with when you're gassed and you're trying to defend yourself against Adesanya is not the smart thing to do. So if I was in Costa's corner, I would have probably said the same thing. Take it easy the first round. Don't give him too much to search on. Don't give him too much research. Don't give him too much to kind of figure out and set you up. But unfortunately, I just don't think that Costa had the operating system against Izzy to be able to understand what was going on when he was in the pocket. And you remember when Anderson Silva came into the sport, it was like witchcraft. He's in there and people just don't know what to do. We've got guys like Chris Lieben that come crashing forward, knocking people out. Couldn't lay a hand on Anderson Silva. And there's something very disconcerting about that. When you know that you normally close distance and hurt people pretty quickly and you can't touch them. I mean, I think it was 12 strikes he landed in the total fight. It was just a spectacular performance from Izzy. He manages range so well. And it must be very much like fighting Khabib. You can't really understand what his wrestling's like until he's got his hands on you. I think when you stand in front of Israel Adesanya, you can't really understand what that's like until it's there. And when it's there, it's too late. And you can bring guys in that are the same height, the same reach, they move the same, etc., etc. It's a different thing when it's a live fight and when you've been through the travel and the weight cut and all that kind of stuff. I'd be interested to know more about Costa from his side without the animosity between the two. But I think he's going to hold those cards close to his chest.
Yeah, man.
I think we saw a little bit of both that night. I think we saw Israel at a really high-level performance, and I think we saw Bohashinia that maybe wasn't well adjusted to the time here. I did speak with his coach, Eric Albarracin, afterwards, and he said that Paulo really didn't sleep that much the night before, which is a real bummer. He had only gotten a couple of hours of sleep. So while I don't think we necessarily saw the best Paulo, I do think we saw the best Israel. You know what I mean? And so I think it was bad luck for Paulo. And also, honestly, John, he hasn't been that active, right? One fight each year for the last 2 years. Israel has a little more momentum coming into it. So to me, I just felt like it was a big ask to come over here on a time shift after a layoff like that and then perform at that high level, especially after you also built it up and chalked it up so much, So I think it was a combination of a lot of difficult circumstances for him. And Israel just looking fantastic.
Yeah, that's why I said first and foremost, I think it was all Adesanya's he's such a good striker, and all he's got to do is that, and you're like, oh, fuck, what's he going to, and then he started using his jab. After the leg kicks, the jab was there, and I knew that head kick was coming. It's easy for me to see it sitting on the outside analyzing it, but for Costa, you're worried about that leg, and then funk. He's lucky he didn't get knocked out with that head kick. It kind of glanced off the eyebrow and split him wide open. Imagine if that had kind of gone across the neck or the jaw. That would have been it right there.
What did you make of Izzy's celebration at the end with the dry humping and running over at Captain Eric and all that stuff?
That was funny. I mean, why be mad about that? He didn't. The dry humping, there wasn't any penetration. He didn't actually smack him with anything. It was miming. He was doing aggressive miming. But he was excited, and I think this fight really got to him mentally. I think he had to dig deep into his Zen state of mind and watch a lot of Naruto to really channel that inner ninja in him and beat up the bully. And then afterwards, he celebrated beating up the bully. I mean, I thought it was funny. I didn't think it was disrespectful well, obviously it was disrespectful, but I didn't think it was out of line considering the build up and everything. But yeah, I probably wouldn't have done it. Actually, I probably would have. Bitch fucking season, that's what it's all about. So hey, what are you gonna do?